Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to Cybrosys Technologies. In today's video, we're gonna discuss about how to set up the access rights in Odoo 19 accounting module. To set up with the access right, let's move on to the settings module, and from here you can find the users. Let me choose manage users, then you would be able to see all the available internal users. Internal users are the users in a company, or we can say that they are the employee. I would like to consider the internal user as Michelle admin, and he is treated as the administrator. So you can find the role over here. Now once it's been set, you can see that we can set the accounting access right. So I'm going to set the accounting access right as administrator itself and setting the bank as valid bank account. Once it's been set, you can move on to the accounting module, and in the accounting module you can see that as Michelle admin has the access right of an administrator, he will have the complete privilege to manage the accounting of a business. He can manage with the creation of the customer invoices, vendor bills, the payments, and manage the accounting, the reconciliation, and all the things that comes under an accounting module will be managed by the administrator. Now let's move on to the other user. So to manage with the other user, again you can move on to the settings and choose manage user. So here you can see that we have the other user role called simply a user. So if you are setting the role as simply a user, this user will not be having much privilege to manage or much privilege, or will not be having much access in the accounts of a company. Now I'm going to skip the accounting access right as bookkeeper. Now let me log out from here and log in as demo. So once you have enabled as demo, here you can see that in Odoo, a bookkeeper is typically a person who is responsible for recording all the financial transactions, keeping the company's account up to date. And here you can see that the bookkeeper will not be having the access to manage the general settings of Odoo database. But when we move on to the accounting module, here you can see that this person can manage or their role mainly involve day-to-day accounting operations such as entering invoices, reconciliation, bank statements, and preparing basic financial reports. They can also manage with the creation and validation of vendor bills from the supplier, and can also record the customer invoices and pause them in the accounting module. He can also manage the bank and cash reconciliation, such as importing uh, bank statement manually or automatically, and can match the payments with the invoices or bills. Now the person has the ability to manage with the registering of the customer payments and registering the vendor payments, as well as managing the journal entries for their payments. Now let's consider the other user. To manage with the other user, you can log in out from the mark demo, and let me just move on to use another user. Now let's move on to the admin, and here in the general settings you can see that we can just change the access right of mark demo. So I would like to choose the user over here, and under the mark demo, here you can see that we have much more the access rights, such as managing the invoicing and banks. And if you want to just validate the bank account, you can enable the feature. So once it's done, let's move on to the mark demo. And here in the mark demo login, you can see that upon moving on to the accounting module, here you can see that if you just choose the invoicing and bank, the user will not be having the privilege to manage the review, configuration, and settings of the accounting module. He can manage the customer creation, vendor creation, as well as the reporting, and not every reporting, but the partner report, as well as the tax and physical report, as well as invoice management analysis. Once everything is done, let's move on to with the access right of the the user with the other access right. So again, let's move on to the admin role, and here in the settings, you can see that we just need to move on to the manage users, and under the mark demo, here we can see the role, and in the role we have the accounting, and under the accounting here we have the invoices. So once the invoicing is set over here, let's again log in as mark demo, and let's see the difference in the access right of mark demo. So once you move on here, when you jump onto the accounting module here, you can see that this user will have the access to manage the creation of the customer invoices, the vendor bills, and the reporting sessions. But under the reporting session, he can only manage the invoice analysis, but the user will not be having the privilege even to view the dashboard of the accounting. So from the dashboard, we can see the overview of the bank reconciliation, the statements, the journals that we have created. But when we set the access right as simply an invoice, the creation of customer invoices and vendor bills only will be managing by the person who has the access right as invoicing. Now let's log out from the user, and again let's move on to use another user, and let me move on to admin. And in this case, let me move on to the settings, and in the settings again let's consider the manage user, and let me choose mark demo itself. And once it's been set, here we need to change the accounting access right. So I'm going to set the accounting access right as read only. So once it's been done, you can save the changes that you have made and log out from Michelle admin. Now we just need to log in as mark demo. Once you log in as mark demo, here you can see that as you just move on to the accounting module, here you can see that this user will only have the privilege to view or read the records of the accounts in a business. He will not be having the privilege to create, but he can upload the invoices. He can just manage with the uploading of the bills, the refunds, and everything. So upon moving on to the accounting menu also, here you can see that we have the journal entries where this user will only have the privilege to read, like he can just view the assets, the loans related to his the loans of his business. Everything can be viewed. And here we have a new tab called review, which is available in Odoo 19. And whenever you just use any of the functionalities from here, you can see that this user only will have the privilege to view everything. This user will not be able to make any further changes in the accounting session, as the user has got the access right as read only. So that's all about the access right in Odoo 19 accounting module. If you find this video informative, please do like, share, and subscribe our channel. If you want Odoo customization, Odoo implementation, and Odoo tutorial videos, feel free to contact Cybrosys. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching the video.